All right, so I came across this video on Twitter X from the Desirable Truth, and I wanted to go ahead and talk about it because I think that this person, they're asking him questions about the dating scene in Miami. This person's 31, and I think that he's doing a terrible job of communicating his ideas. And you guys are gonna know what that sounds like in a bit. But you guys are going to quickly realize, if you are open-minded, that this person sounds a lot like a woman. Not saying that he's bitchy or whatever the case is, but women have a tendency of communicating ideas in a similar fashion. So I'll go ahead and show you guys that as well. Although I'm going to just show you a bit of that because Tomi Lahren did an exceptionally terrible job of communicating certain ideas. But there's going to be a moment where he also does the same thing. And I'm going to show you guys how Tomi Lahren is also communicating that idea. So let's go ahead and listen to this guy so we can get into it, okay? So, 31, dating in the Miami scene, so.
What's your age?
31.
Are you single?
Yes, sir.
What's the biggest problem you run into dating women in Miami now?
These buster ass, millionaire, trick ass niggas be fucking and poisoning these bitches' brains up. Because every time they come around me and they see that I'm not finna trick on them and pay for their time and pay for their fucking nails and pay for their whole lifestyle, and I'm just actually trying to get to know the bitch to see if she actually is even worthy of being around me and worthy of my time, they look at it looking like, nigga, I just committed a felony.
Okay, so two things that he did here that just sounded terrible. So first off, he has charisma. He has humor, right? He's funny. He sounds funny, especially the way he's communicating his ideas. These bust-ass N-words. And of course, the one thing I disagree with, calling women bitches, to me, that's crazy that you're using that language. I'm sure that a lot of women out there are going to immediately find this video antagonizing. And this is not going to appeal to them, obviously. This is most likely going to appeal to men, which I'm sure that you as a man have already thought to yourself, like, yeah, I agree with that, But the thing is that if you look at it closely, if you listen to it, the way he's communicating his ideas does not sound inclusive. Instead, it sounds more or less like a tactic of segregation. So I'll show you guys why that sounds like that. So he ends up mentioning a moment where he says, I have to see if the bitch is even worthy of talking to me or whatever the case is. And he says that here, watch.
When around me lifestyle, and I'm just actually trying to get to know the bitch to see if she actually is even worthy of being around me and worthy of my time.
See, he's saying worthy of being around me and worthy of my time. I think that this is terrible because, again, you're drawing a distinction rather than being inclusive. There's women out there that say like, oh, well, this man has to open the door for me. He has to do this. He has to do that to see if he's worthy of me. It's like, but the bitch, who are you? You're not a prize. And I'm sure that this is exactly what women are thinking, because women are probably thinking like, bro, you're not a prize, and I'm sure that, what's more toxic than that? The fact that they probably listen to this and they say, you're not the prize, I'm the prize. That's even more toxic, but that's for a whole nother video. But regardless though, the way he speaks about it just makes him sound like he's a prize when he's not. Real quick, because that I don't want people to misconstrue that, because I know I said that, he's not the prize. Bro, listen, I think that looking at it from that point of view where someone's the prize, I think that's toxic rather than bringing your part into it and understanding whether you guys are compatible, okay? Don't go into the mindset that you're some sort of prize, because I don't think anybody's the prize. Although if you want to argue and say like, oh, well, somebody who has a tremendous amount of money, that's someone who is a prize, or somebody worthy of being a trophy, well, that's fine. If you have your calibrated scale, then go ahead and operate on that. I usually don't determine people by what value they have. I want to see if we are compatible. If that's the case, then I think that our relationship is going to last. And besides, the people who are saying like, oh, somebody who is a millionaire, they're the prize, I think that it's important to remember that we always like to go about how we should start off from the ground up and create something, build something together. Remember, that's a lot of people like to say that that's much more important, and even I believe that. I think that it's important that you guys come together, you guys build something from the ground up, rather than trying to get the person all the way up here and trying to, I don't know, live that lifestyle. But yeah, just remember that, okay?
You know what I'm saying?
Why wouldn't you lead with the wallet and provide for the woman from the get-go if you're interested in having something serious down the line?
Okay, first off, I think that not leading with the wallet, personally, to me, I think that's a terrible idea. Although, if it makes you feel more like a man, then go ahead. Pick up that wallet and spend it any way you want, if that's how you feel. I think that if you're going to go down that route, I think it's important for you to manage yourself financially properly. Because listen, man, I have friends who take women on dates. They like to spend they like to be the spenders. They're the man. They come to me and they're all like, well, I'm the man. I like to spend on that. Because, you know, we have arguments about that. Because my friend, he'll end up going on a date and he'll spend about $500 on a date night where they'll buy sushi, take them to a good restaurant, take her to a theme park, all that shit. Not the theme park, but some carnival or whatever. And to me, I think that's going way overboard, man. I don't think that you should go down that line. Personally, to me, I think it's just meeting up, getting to know each other, talking about it, taking a walk. I think that's much more economical, and I think that is a much better idea. Because if there's a woman in your life that's telling you like, oh, he has to be the one spending money on me to show me that he cares, I think that's really tacky, man. That's really tacky. I think that I want a woman who is economical as well, where they'll come to me and say like, you know, we got to save money, we got to do this. I want a woman like that. I don't want a woman that says that I have to spend money on them to. That to me is just, that's not my type of girl. That's not my type of girl. If a girl wants to hold that kind of value, then by all means go for it. Okay, I personally don't want someone like that.
Well, why would I provide someone who hasn't done anything for me yet?
So how does a man determine when it's okay to start spending on a woman versus holding off?
When she's actually shown that she's there for you with tangible proof. Not just talking, not just speaking life into you, not just doing shit that every single bitch could do. And if you have respect for yourself as a man, you can do for your damn self. Bitch, I can cook for myself. I can clean for myself. I can hire a man. I know how to cook. I can hire a chef if I wanted to.
Okay. You know who also sounds like this? A woman. A woman says that too. Like, I don't need a man. You know, I can cook for myself. I can clean. I can do this. I got my own car. All of it. That sounds exactly like a woman. And remember, when a woman speaks like that, how does that make you feel? Perhaps that makes you feel like, oh, well, you know, that she's got her own thing going and I agree with her. That's fine. Personally, to me, though, I think that is also a terrible way of communicating your ideas. Instead of saying like, oh, well, you know, it would be nice to have someone who could do the cooking or perhaps the cleaning. Because here's the thing, man. Like, I make videos. I can edit. I could draw. I could create music. I could do all sorts of things, all sorts of skills in media. But I think that it would be great to have someone who can also do music, have skills in media, who could draw, who can come along and help me. I could be 10 times more productive if I had somebody with those skills. And communicating it like that is much better than saying like, I could clean, I could do this, I could do that, because that sounds like you don't need somebody. That sounds like you're great single. Why do you need somebody then if that's the case?
I'm at peace by myself. Tell a woman to actually bring some real tangible value to my life, making my life better, helping me make more money, helping me push me towards my purpose for an extended period amount of time without asking me for anything. That's when I'll start to see, okay, she's worthy of me spending my money and my resources on.
So yeah, normally like the way he communicated it was terrible, but I think that I agree with this. If I was to talk to him and I was to sit down and ask him questions about what he means by all of this, I'm sure that we would probably agree on these ideas. But the way he's communicating it here, I don't think that it's the most efficient way of communicating it, because we listen to him again.
Without asking me for anything, that's when I'll start to see, okay, she's worthy of me spending my money and my resources on.
If she's not asking you for anything, that to me sounds like she doesn't need your money or resources at all, man. Like, you know, there's that, and then also
making my life better, helping me make more money, helping me push me towards my purpose.
See, like everything's about him, like making my life better, pushing me towards my purpose. Is like we got to push each other towards our purpose, you know, like, because now when you get into a relationship, it's no longer your life anymore. Now it's you guys are sharing a space and you guys have to build something together, you know. Although I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. Even I'm still in contention with that idea, because I personally would not want somebody to come into this and then kind of mess up the flow that I have. Although I would probably have to compromise, because obviously if you're going to live a life with somebody, then I think to some degree you have to find some sort of compromise, you know. This guy, the way he's communicating it sounds like this, because he's putting all the responsibility on the woman. And if you don't believe me that sounds terrible, just take a listen to Tommy Lauren fucking give her stupid ass communication, her stupid ass ideas online. Watch.
Birth rates, people. Laura, I gotta tell you, this is also a big problem when it comes to, I think, declining birth rates, people not getting married and having children. You know, that's a big problem. They blame it on women. Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim.
Like, Do you hear that? Like, oh, well, look who they have to choose from. The women, there is no options for women. That's essentially what she's saying. Like, and I really want you to think about it. How does that make you a man? If you are watching a man, how does that make you feel? Doesn't that make you feel like you're the one responsible? And doesn't that make you feel terrible? Doesn't that make you feel like you want to blame women? Because this almost gives off the idea that women cannot be held accountable for anything. It's always the men that have to be the ones to hold that responsibility. Doesn't that make you want to create prejudices in your mind? It's because of rhetoric like this that makes the two genders segregate. It's the same situation when it comes to this guy. That's what he sounds like to women. To me, I think that it's all about finding compatibility, and it's also important to recognize that it's not just about you in a relationship. It has to be both of you guys, you know. Getting away from this is important as well. If you hear anybody talking like this, I would just suggest just either clicking off the video, or I guess deciphering what he's trying to say. Although I would just get away from it personally. That's why personally, to me, like whenever I would watch videos like Rollo Tomasi, Fresh and Fit, all of these guys, they were poisoning my mind, you know. And at one time, because I had to do research for these guys, not that I was listening to them, but because I was doing research at one time for these guys, even when I knew going into this that they were full of shit, like I couldn't help but think of some of the ideas, you know, because that's what priming does to you. You know, it's very difficult to fight it, especially when you're surrounded by the environment. It's very difficult to fight it. So I highly recommend that you guys click off the video, both men and women. I highly advise you to click off these videos, because these videos will infect your mind, and they will create this perception of the dating world that probably most likely isn't even it. Oftentimes we have this perception that the dating world is at a loss, that everybody hates each other. Well, probably that is the case, but it's mainly this that's driving that force. It's videos like this that when men, they see videos like this, whether it's a man or a woman giving their preferences or what they think dating should be like, or what they think the opposite gender should be like, it's triggering. It very much is triggering, and it definitely devolves into segregation, you know. So yeah, I just kind of want to just go ahead and just kind of touch on that whole idea. I think it's important for us to recognize what forces are behind our influence, and this is definitely one of them, the rhetoric. So yeah, I just kind of want to just go ahead and just open you guys up to that idea. Let me know what you guys think about that. So